He's a superstar. DJ Kauzy in the mix.
Mama kamba bananilowa, kozi pene katapalowa. Mama kamba bananilowa, kozi pene katapalowa.
While others are channel hopping, we have our listeners locked 24/7 on So Online Radio, your timeless station.
At the house 2020. At the house 2020. Ladies and gentlemen,
London, your music promotion.
dopest, freshest name in the game, ladies and gentlemen.
No time zone is beyond us. This is So Online Radio, your station anywhere and time.
Let's go get 'em.
DJ Kauzy, the superstar in the mix.
Oh man, I trash, she said. Pity kitty, life in a titty. I wanna get high and get paid. If she kitty, get paid. Oh man, I trash, she said. Pity kitty, life in a titty. No strings attached when I get laid. Jago tonight we forget. Keka kitty kitty. Kaiponena keka muchikondi gangena. 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 Kitty kitty. She said, for my love I have felt it. I am my feelings I have felt it. Yakukwata na kofetaji. Sacha sukuntonya tonya kofidia. Nkakusula kofidia. Umubili wangu kakofilia nsomeka. Wansonta kofilia. So I gathered my courage. Nekafunya mubu savage. Mutima kukabweza mo mileage. Kekat not ome na garbage. Uli ni chaume. Kukumbate mu maboko ya chaume. Ichikwiri cha iche. With more than our kulupa boiche. Oh man, I trash, she said. Pity kitty, love in a titty. I wanna get high and get paid. If she kitty, get paid. Oh man, I trash, she said. Pity kitty, love in a titty. No strings attached when I get laid. No way. Tonight we forget. Keka kitty kitty. Kaiponena keka muchikondi gangena. 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 Kitty kitty.
Mole no susi. Bambomba ko sharp kwa timofi. Kalenga na landa tibufi. Pakabonfya wedi love lucy. She must be feeling the boy. Shakweta benapa, she's feeling the void. Alembona kukuna. Pamanje madali ni bubuna be. Kaifine special. Kaipone no kabula mo effort. Pakwambala imona special. Queen di mulava geni nonjo sopi. Kosudi de kopano. Te papa wasankamo. Mulavu ne timu idikala. Mbotakano kumwibukishe kwa relandat.
Oh man, I trash, she said. Pity kitty, love in a titty. I wanna get high and get paid. If she kitty, get paid. Oh man, I trash, she said. Pity kitty, love in a titty. No strings attached when I get laid. No way. Jago tonight we forget. Keka kitty kitty. Kaiponena keka muchikondi gangena. 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 Kitty kitty.
Jazzy Boy Production, ladies and gentlemen. Swagger na machiki. Let's go.
Out. I'm feeling it.
I know you're feeling it, baby. Tibona tibuta, Tupita Sam. Wake up.
So Mike, I think camera is okay now. It's fine. Go away. Twitchy, Oscar.
Chantaton Empire.
Now this one a brand new rhythm.
Straight out to Oslo, Norway, far away. Yeah.
Hey, yo, Cactus Agony.
What happened, baby, the Bflow?
Everywhere me trod, I only for them people them a chat. No for them people want to know when we are go chant a tune for them, cause them know we are the predominant ZW warriors. See?
It no matter what kind of Batman or what kind of crew, none of them can stop
Alright,
ways on the
move. This one is for the motivation, for the celebration, for the people them day. It's never gonna be for the bad man them, when I wanna see the youth them bigger than them. This one is for the elevation, in a brand new style, on a brand new day. Penetration time, in a foreign land, or a foreign ground with a brand new sound. You be the one I know with about this thing, you know when I come again, you can never touch me. Intimidation time, for the little boy them, when I step in the boot, when I sing an anthem. Get a vanting time for the enemy, you can let me step on the video. You be the one I know me really, man I full of confidence, never ningy. Anyway, give it up, begin up, take it, fit the killer governance with the best of the best, to the man, you the best, give it up always, cause you're never gonna tell him when him a day. Begin up to the man like Admiral P, for the lovely connections, evidently give thanks to the short man, cow for the beef, Nico, the you the man, what I want split fee. Me never gonna bow for the man, them, some of them never gonna combine them, kill a man, Bflow, you commit murder, and found guilty, the flow murder. Yes, we the best, to the best, so we predominant. Give me the Bflow and captures murder them in the dance. Yes, we the best, to the best, so we predominant.
Hello, everybody. It's exactly 15 minutes past 7 UK time. And apologies for that delay as we were still working with the technical challenges. As you know, we still work with the internet and everything has gone virtual. Everybody's talking about the internet. I've got my guest and, like I promised, it's not Falling Day. I know everybody's so excited about Falling Day and posting on Facebook that I'm traveling out. I'm in America. I'm in wherever. So today is another day where we have a special guest, and this is no other than Bflow. I'm gonna introduce him so that he can just say hi to you guys and get ready for the show tonight. But before that, let's have Bflow on. Hello, my brother. How are you doing? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you. Yeah, try to play around with the sound so that we can see if you are able to, we'll be able to get you on this side. All right, we'll be right back as my guest is still trying to sort out his sound. Like I said, it's a mode of internet that we are working with. We pass through challenges with the internet. It's a technology world. Program. But in the meantime, we're going to have a song from Bflow, one video, and my director is ready for that one. Let's go.
I wanna live and die in Africa, in this place of harmony. I wanna share my culture with everyone, 'cause this is where my heart lies.
Oh, nila tutonse.
Oh,
tita tulaba ekotwa puma ikweta tulaba zambezi Bflow wango mumana 72 imitundu bati twalikatana ebuntu tene mukopeleko ututuntu makamaka umuchinchiko muntu
One. I think the second one, yeah.
Punzitsani ana kuti ankale aulemu atate punzitsani ana kuti ankale na ulemu ziko ndila tutonze yenela kunkala pamozi chalo ni chatu tonze yenela kukwilizana.
I stand with Eva.
I stand with Eva.
Do you know that in Zambia, young people serving their mothers' sentences are the most vulnerable?
The Eva Chavala Foundation is an initiative that was formed in 2012 in Zambia. Its aim to look after disadvantaged and vulnerable children that the legal system has left behind.
Prison reform.
I stand with Eva because every child deserves a full chance to maximize their potential, irrespective of the mistakes their parents have made. I stand with Eva because we will not forget the children of the incarcerated and what impact this has on their lives.
Studies have shown that children whose mothers are sent to prison are more likely than their peers to have future problems. These include criminal offending, mental health problems, and drug and alcohol addictions.
Collaboration and unity are the way forward. I stand with the Eva Chavala Foundation.
So Online Radio stands with Eva.
There is power in collaboration. So Online Radio stands with Eva Chavala Foundation Trust.
We at So Online Radio stand with Eva.
All right, we're just having some issues with the internet at the moment, but we'll still not get tired of it or not give up. Bflow, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Brilliant, I can hear you. Welcome to So Online Radio.
Thank you very much for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much once again, for coming through to So Online Radio and accepting the invitation to come, and discuss issues that are in the music industry and, of course, that are affecting many, many artists. And we can talk about the upcoming artists as well. So they are looking up to the big artists, and we are talking. These are the established artists already, and you are one of them that are, established. So I'm really grateful to have you on my show, which is The Weekend Unlocked. In case you're just catching us for the first time, this is The Weekend Unlocked with yours truly, DJ Kauzy, the superstar, and exclusive to So Online Radio. So my guest is ready, and we are ready to go for our interview. And, we've defeated the internet. Straight on, we'll start by, Bflow introducing himself.
My name's Brian Mumbakasoka Wembia. you're known to many as Bflow. I was born in the small town of Kabwe in the central part of Zambia, and I was raised by a single mother. My father died when I was 9 years old, so most of my life I spent it with my mother, and that's why you hear in my music and on many platforms I talk more about my mother, because I had a deeper experience and a longer experience with her. I grew up in Kabwe. I attended different schools. I started from a school called Jack and Jill. And then after Jack and Jill, I went to Kasanda Malombe Primary School. After Kasanda Malombe Primary School, we moved from Kabwe to Serenje just for a short period of time, for about 2 years. Then we returned to Kabwe, where I now went to a school called Broadway. And then after Broadway, I went to, so that was junior secondary. Then I went to Kabwe Secondary School, where I completed, and while at Kabwe Secondary School, I served in different capacities. I was the anti-AIDS club president. I was the debate club president. I was also a chief printer for the press club. I was part of the disciplinary committee of the school library. I also served as head boy. I did a number of things at Kabwe Secondary School. Then after that, I had to pursue my tertiary education in Lusaka, where I also had to pursue my music career, because both the presence of universities as well as studios was not there in Kabwe at the time. So I couldn't go to school in Kabwe, and I couldn't record my music in Kabwe, so I had to move to Lusaka, where I had to start doing my recordings while also going to school, and I was pursuing Chartered Institute of Marketing as well as social work.
Wow. Well, that's really a long journey. You've been through that journey of education and, of course, lifestyle in terms of growing up in Kabwe. I'm also, I also come from Kabwe. So when you mention about places like Jack and Jill, yeah, those are well known to me. We can talk about Kabwe High School. Kabwe High School was the first place where I actually we met, and those days we were upcoming artists, and we were looking up to you guys. So we were in the background, getting inspired by your works and a lot of things that you were doing, and hearing the history of the achievements you've done in school. You were the head boy, you were a leader and of an ed club, and all those roles on to you. That was very amazing, and that's why we've seen you coming this far with that passion. All right, thank you so much for telling us about your brief history of who Bflow is. Bflow. I remember those days. Are you able to do that? Because we don't see you doing that anymore. What's happening?
Well, I'm still able to do that. I still have the energy to do it. Super fantastic. Bflow alongside DJ Kauzy superstar. Chant it on.
Chant it. I need that one. You record it and send it to me.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much to our viewers that are following us on radio, and of course that are following us on Facebook and YouTube. And we are also connected on Facebook Live of the Facebook page for Bflow. So make sure you catch us there as well on Soul Line Radio and YouTube channel for Soul Line Radio. Tell us about your music. You've told us about how you grew up in Kabwe and ventured into school and branched off into music, and you had faced those challenges in terms of like there was no recording studio in Kabwe at that time. So now tell us, how did it start? How was the journey? What inspired you from you being that holding the leadership of let's say the things you talked about, the HIV and AIDS club? You were the president there. You were also a leader in many other groups at school. But in those groups, there is nothing that is familiarizing to music. How did you get into music?
Okay, so music has always been a part of my life. First of all, I come from a very musical family, and I'll tell you that in my family there are people that did music but I came to discover later on that they were related to me. Like the Mwale sisters, there was Anna Mwale, who was very famous back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, who happens to be my aunt. There was Ras Willie, who was my uncle. There was Christine Dewe from the Great Witch Band, who was also my uncle. And then in a group called Adonai, which is a gospel music group, there are two of my relatives are in that group as well. So my music, my music somehow, I think you would say it's in the blood, because there are people that have been successful artists in my family, first of all. And then growing up, you know, we faced a lot of challenges because of the moving from one point to another. At some point, my mother tried to do some teaching. There was a program called Untrained Teacher, UT, back in the days, but it didn't really pay her well. Then she switched from that. She tried tailoring. So she moved to Serenje. The teaching thing happened in a place called Moyasunka. Then she did, the teaching thing in Livingston, the tailoring thing rather, in Livingston. Then when that didn't work out again, she went back to Kabwe, tried out something else. Then she joined the Zambia Police Service, and that's the time now we moved to Serenje. Then after Serenje, moved back to Kabwe. So when we're moving from one place to another, there were a lot of challenges that were causing all that. So for me, it was affecting me in terms of my school and all these things. But while we were in Serenje, I met a group of Rastas. And these Rastas had a huge collection of music. You know, they had a lot of cassettes. They had Bob Marley, they had Ijaman, they had Peter Tosh, they had Gregory Isaacs. They had a lot of reggae music in their collection. And then one thing in common with my mother was that my mother was a big fan of reggae music. And then, so my mother used to discourage me from hanging out with the Rastas because she didn't want them to influence me to smoke ganja. But I used to, you know, sneak out of the house to go and hang out with the Rastas because she knew that I really loved reggae music.
Let me pause you there. So when your parents were telling you not to hang around with the Rastas, and you being that sneaky guy, were you going to smoke that which mom was saying, no, don't go there? Was it the other case, apart from the music side of it?
Well, not really. My mother was worried that I was going to start smoking, but I wasn't smoking. I wasn't going there to smoke. I was going there to hang out with them because of the reggae music that they were playing, which we could put the blame on my mom because she's the one that introduced me to reggae music because she really loved reggae music. So in my mind, whenever I saw a Rasta man, I would think that that one is related to Bob Marley, and I would want to hang out with them so that I can hear more about the Rasta culture, you know. So that's how I used to hang out with those guys a lot. And then when mom noticed that I was hanging out with them, she made a plan. She started asking someone to say, is it possible that my son can have like a wig of rastas, you know, of dreadlocks, so that he doesn't have, because I started insisting that I wanted to have dreadlocks. So my mom said, no, you can't have dreadlocks. You're still young. You're in primary school. You need to be in school. And I said, but what's wrong with me having dreadlocks? Because I really love this raga reggae culture. So, but that never worked out. We couldn't find any artificial dreadlocks. So, and then my mother, being a police officer at the time, she was very strict. And she was the only female police officer in Serenje. And part of her role was to arrest people like those rastas who were smoking ganja.
who were smoking, not doing music.
Exactly. So it was very conflicting where, like, you know, I hang out with them and then my mother needs to arrest one of them and all those things. So, but in the process, I found myself learning a lot of things from these rastas on how to record music, like on cassette, where, you know, those days when we used to have those sound systems which would have side A and side B.
Side B, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe on side A, you put a tape that has a reggae instrumental, and then on side B, it used to have these two buttons, one for record, where on the other side, it's like you're recording the music that's playing on side A, and while you are recording, you need to be quiet unless you want to sing on top of that instrument, so then even your voice will be recorded as part of the recording that is happening there. So that's how I used to try to sing and then afterwards I would play it back and then listen to myself and say, do I sound good? I say, I don't sound very good, let me do it again. So I kept doing that, and that's how I was beginning to perfect my art. But the interesting thing is that my mother is the one that used to buy for me the blank tapes. She's also the one that bought the radio, the one that had side A and side B, as a present to me, because she saw the passion that I had for music. So that's how it started. This was around 10 years old, 10 years of age. And then when we moved back to Kawe, I started looking for studios but couldn't find any until I was about 14 years of age. And that's when I heard of a man called Papa Miki. And Papa Miki was another Rasta man. He was
and all the
another Rasta
papas,
man.
we
but
know
this
them
one-
but sorry to cut you short. Those days, all the papas we knew, you would see them with a guitar playing, you would go to them. I remember my childhood, I had this man where we used to go, Uncle Victor. We used to call him Uncle Victor in Kitwe. So when we go at Chamboli Market, we would sit down, he would play some music. He used to, what do you call that? He used to sing songs of Bob Marley, in short. Yeah, so
Wow,
we used to
wow.
go there. He would first he would ask you to say, give us some one kwacha for me to buy a kamshanga. You know what I mean? Then you give him, he's going to sing for you. That's what used to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a similar story like that. So we met Papa Miki. Papa Miki was organizing he was organizing some talent contests. They used to call it Trod On talent contests, where he would call different young artists from Kawe who would come and compete. So you would find the likes of V3, the likes of General Ozzy, the likes of Damiano, the likes of Unique, different artists that were based in Kabwe at that time would get together and would compete. You would win something. Sometimes the prize you would win would be, maybe you just win a CD, a blank CD. Maybe you came out number 2, number 1 wins, maybe, some funny prizes, but they were very motivating because at the time, even our music, we're not recording it on CD. And then, my first time entering a studio now, it was in a place called Ngungu in Kabwe.
Yeah.
And there was an artist by the name of Amy Roots. People may
Emirate.
remember
Yeah,
him.
I know Emirate. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Amy Roots had a small studio called Kwanu Nkwanu. And
Yeah.
in that studio, he used to have this keyboard that could accommodate what they called a cartridge. It was an old school keyboard, so the cartridge would store the instrumental that he makes for you. And then he had a microphone, a Shure mic, not the mics that we use today, like condenser microphone. It was a Shure mic. And then on the Shure mic, we would record the music while he's playing on his big keyboard. And it was just one take, not the way we record music today, where you're recording on one side, where you're recording, you can even rest. You record the chorus separately, you perfect it, you add some backing vocals, and then you come and continue do verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, you do a bridge. What those things were not there. You had to sing one take from A to Z. You're just singing the song. So when you get tired, people will be able to hear that, Apom guys are a pay mashkap. That's how we were recording music with Amy Roots, But
That's actually true,
so
because sorry to cut you short. Sorry to cut you short again. That's very true, because I've seen the experience of people recording, and it's one of those things that I saw vividly to my brother Kelvin. That's where he started. The one you talked about, the radio cassette, where you put
Yes.
music, CD side A, side B. So he would put himself, record and all that. So that's where the journey started, and he would record like that. So it's a very good experience that the young upcoming artists out there, that are following us right now, that are watching, they should know that this talent, it came from a very far stage, early stages, where we didn't have all this technology that we have now. Even having audiences like this,
Exactly.
to share different views on on music and many other things. I know you've got a very long story, to articulate and educate other people out there, and of course these are the upcoming upcoming artist, it's very, very important that you mentioned that. So if I were to get you back into the time you were recording on those radio cassette, was that your first experience of recording a song?
Yes, that was my first time in the studio. It was my first time actually recording, like where you could call it professional recording. It, for me, that experience is so surreal. It's so inspirational for me because it brings very good memories of those days, and just the fact that I know there are artists we are listening to today. Zambian artists that like some of the music that you're playing on your show this evening, who've never had the kind of experience that I had. I am a young person, but I started music really young. Like I'm telling you, I went in the studio as early as 13 or 14 years of age. I was in the studio recording my music on cassette. By the time I was 16, I recorded my first song with TK Romacide. So that experience for me it's a memory that I treasure, that I will always share with the new generation of artists that were never there, just to make them understand that hard work pays. And it took a lot of hard work for us to be able to record music on a tape where you're recording one take. And that was really my first time. But my first time in a professional studio was when I turned 16 years old, and I met this lawyer by the name of Ignatius Chongwe. May his soul rest in peace. He's the one who discovered Bflow. He found me performing at another talent or singing competition in Kabwe at a place called Sacred Heart Parish. And Sacred Heart has this hall where they organize events. So they had this singing competition where I went to sing, and there were not many people in the audience. It was a flop, that event, actually, because they advertised upcoming artists who were not known by anyone. So we had like about 3 people in the audience. But the way I performed like I was performing for 1,000 people, because for me, that was my first time on stage. So this man who was a lawyer saw me on stage, and he was like, wow, I love your passion, I love your energy. How do you manage to put out so much energy, yet you're performing for only 3 people? Then I said, well, for me, the most important thing is that these 3 people made an effort to pay, to come from their homes just for them to come and listen to what we have to offer. And, I think not performing to my fullest potential would mean robbing them of the time and the effort that they've made. So I feel I should put in the very best. And the man was impressed. He was like, wow, I love your work ethic, and I would like to do something with you. So he gave me his number, and I wrote it on a piece of paper. And then later on, my aunt gave me a phone, which was like a 5110, the one that had an aerial, a Nokia 5110. And I saved that man's number. That was the first number I saved in that phone. And I remember put in some units, some cents, as I don't know what they were calling them those days. And I called this man, and he told me we needed to meet. We met, and then he had this plan where he shared his vision and said he wanted to start sponsoring young artists in Kabwe. Then he wanted us to record like a compilation. So he organized an event. I remember, this event was meant to identify talent in Kabwe, and the best 8 people to win in that competition were going to travel to Lusaka to record music with any professional studio of their choice. And I came out number 1, and I chose Romacide Studio, and that's how I recorded my very first song at the age of 17 years old. And that for me was my first time now having a song on CD. Because remember, the other songs I was releasing them on cassette with Emirates, but now it was on CD.
On those radio tapes, just to push you forward, on the radio cassette, did you record an album at that time? Did you record an album that you were able to sell out there? And if you would compare that the selling of the album at that particular time with the advancement of the technology as of now, how would you encourage an artist there, or how would you tell somebody out there that is watching of your experience and what you went through in order for you to produce the radio cassette tape ile ya kuchinja. So for the sake of the viewers,
Okay.
kwali bakara ka tape tware around the so.
We would around the
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So tell us about that.
Yeah, we would use a pen actually, yeah. You would use a pen to rewind or
Yes.
fast forward the tape. Well, at that particular time, I did not really release an album. I was just doing singles.
Okay.
But then because they were on cassette, they were on tapes. In cowboy days, we didn't even have radio stations. So those songs, I was pretty much keeping them so that I can come and use them as a way of auditioning in bigger studios where you present that tape, they listen to it, they see your potential, then maybe they can give you like a recording contract or something. But what ended up happening was after some years, when I came to release my very first album, now I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
So when I was releasing my first album, it was released only on cassette. So yes, I did release my first album on cassette, and it was an experience on its own. There were pirated copies on the market. People were pirating. I don't know how they were doing it. That time, Mondo Music had closed, so we were using Supershine Investments, and they're the ones that were making our cassettes. I remember Slap D had tapes, I had tapes, Peterson had tapes, and even the artists that came before us, like the likes of Danny, JK, all those guys had tapes as well at some point. And the marketing aspect was it was a bit different from the way it is today. There was not much of social media. We didn't have Facebook in Zambia. We would not do these things that we do today, like download link or click this link to buy my song. Nothing like that. You had to depend on the physical copies. They had to stamp them at Supershine. You would count like, oh, this week maybe we've got like 3,000 tapes, and all those tapes had to be stamped. But then again, you don't know if someone comes up with a fake stamp. You don't know if they've made other cassettes elsewhere. You go to Kamwala, you find another cassette that looks like your tape, and people are selling it. So we had our own challenges even in those days. And then when the CD came, we started releasing both on cassette and also on CD. But with time, I think the cassette just got phased out, and then we remained with the CD. And it's funny how time flies, because now even the CD has been phased out. People are now dealing with flash disks, memory cards, and all these things.
Exactly. Yeah, I was talking to Tilo 2 weeks ago, and we touched that issue of how Zambian music has advanced to a stage whereby we are able to have Zambian music on different streams across the world. We can talk about Spotify, we can talk about Deezer, and which other one? All these streaming, SoundCloud.
iTunes.
In those days, it was very difficult, like you've just mentioned. And talking about piracy, all right? Talking about piracy, it's one of those things that we talked about as well with Tilo. So how can we manage piracy, or how can we fight piracy? But before that, we'll come back to answer that question as we take another commercial break. And this is a musical video break, and when we'll be right back, we'll be talking about piracy in Zambia, as we've heard from Bflow having a challenge from a very tender age getting into the music industry. We are yet to learn more from our big man there, Bflow, aka Obama Jr. We'll be right back. All right, it looks like my producer has not prepared the video for our guest, and it will still come through. But before that, I would just like to inform our viewers out there that you're tuned into the Weekend Unlocked show, and this is exclusive to Soul 9 Radio. And my guest is Bflow from Zambia, as well as not the segment of today's show is we are discussing the future of Zambian music. We've seen labels that have come on board, to support and engineer the Zambian music industry to escalate it to another level. So we are yet to find out on what Bflow feels about that, looking at where he's coming from and having those big platforms that have come now, and how they can change the music industry. We'll be right back on the other side.
which is a partner of the Stop TB project. And I also work with the National HIV/AIDS and TB Council in my country, where I serve as national ambassador. So basically, I just use performing arts and also identify talent among other young artists in my country to bring them together and make sure that they also play a role in making sure that we end tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS. So I'm so excited to be here, and I know that the work that we're doing together will go places as long as we can unite and put our ideas together. Through doing this kind of work, I have seen my career be elevated from one point to another, where just from doing work in my country, in Zambia, I got recognition at the White House back in 2015 by 44th President of the US, Barack Obama, who endorsed me because of the work that we do around HIV and TB. So I want to encourage all of you never to relent, but to continue using your voices, your talents, your music, your arts, and all your platforms to just make sure that you just keep going until we win this fight. Thank you very much.
nimveleni voice yanga imveleni ishiwi nimveleni voice bamene nikamba vimveleni Bflow in the area diggity dreams yo maps splash triple Czo rock and Hugh collaboration amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi
uchula no mutima chalo chove mune ala ichingirire ishiwi yobe wile kabakubomfe kabiri bakunyantirire iwe sisita ichalo mwandini we mwine bomfe afe ishiwi wile kaba kunyantirire tete baku sakamane kabiri nabamona wikinasiwe bomfe afe ishiwi basamuna ne wasaki bakukwatirize
niwe munandiwe kutika amakayaba mwishiwilyobe wile kaba kunyantilile bantu mwishiwilyobe mwali bamaka niwe munandiwe kutika amakayaba mwishiwilesu wile kaba kunyantilile bantu mwishiwilesu mwali bamaka
amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi
sauti nomba batumfweko kufisunga mukatukafwane shoko webe ni munonkwa kupefilayo tekwika lazima ninga fyachilamo na ponsa paluba na shilandapo yuthi na hopu mulange kujo sakamane fintunga filepena ichalo jifwaika fyokusera mwishi wiliobe mwaliba maka notukulalwa yafula maka tuwombele pamakuntanshi telionse kublema bafyashi
bwe musepela fikane wideka bakubomfye fikane ifya kulalwa na mapanga fikane fya kukomando tusembe ililishi wiliandi mule kutika nemusepela nene chile kalipa lelo ni lelo file chitika twese mwanda ile mule
iwewe munandiwe kutika amakayaba mwishiwilyobe wile kaba kunyantilile bantu mwishiwilyobe mwali bamaka iwewe munandiwe kutika amakayaba mwishiwilesu wile kaba kunyantilile bantu mwishiwilesu mwali bamaka
amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi quite alright imitikula empanga but still how long mukachuchinga tuli bengi sana talikwata makamwa leti with the future ya Africa eicho mwitushinga bata mwituwepo bufi isatima vota inshito shirikwi olo nigelo ine akaninama ine ninga kalihipe ine ninga muze
singi matula ile mwemidala kufyanywa pa nomba tualishala waita tumona kona change kukana bomba tuwike kopa benchi apa mutula ngama action twalanda na sana we complain use your voice we kuchinga neshi with your be eli chinja with the future na leaders ine fila yo matula ile mwe give us twalolela sana chance tomipela na sana
iwewe munandiwe kutika amakayaba mwishiwilyobe wile kaba kunyantilile bantu mwishiwilyobe mwali bamaka iwewe munandiwe kutika amakayaba mwishiwilesu wile kaba kunyantilile bantu mwishiwilesu mwali bamaka
amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi amakayaba mwishiwi
Welcome back, and of course this time you can hear me, yeah. Yeah, so I was when I came back on set, it was I was talking about the song "Pum Pum Pum." It's one of the it's one of the big songs that it saw you out there, and everywhere it was about Bflow, Pum Pum Pum, Bflow here and there. So let's talk about that same song. Looking at the video itself, and if we look at who Bflow is today, How were you when you were watching that video? How were you seeing yourself like, this really me? Eh? So how would you tell us about you being that artist wearing big big jeans? I don't know if it was that was a big shoe and a big very very big shirt, and right now you are now a slim fit, all your clothes are slim fit. What was the motivation behind all those dressing?
It's the times, man. It's the times,
The time,
just
yeah?
like music. Yeah, music
Exactly.
evolves, even fashion evolves. So
Yeah.
with time, people start to appreciate a different sound of music, and with time, we also begin to appreciate a certain type of dress code, and we say, "Oh, okay, what was that we were doing in those times?" But in that time, that was proper, that was standard. You needed to be in a baggy jean, you needed to have like a big sweatshirt, this big team boots,
I remember you had. I remember
yeah.
you had. The time you came to perform at Kabwe High School. I remember you had this jean with a very like a printed label this side. I don't know. It had colors like yellow. You remember that trouser? Yeah,
Yes,
and
I
you had
do.
this very big shirt. With
Yes, yes.
the likes of D2, the
Yeah,
D2
I used to
guys.
have this
Yeah,
very big,
come
big
and to be like,
t-shirt with
yeah.
some
We
colors
started
here.
copying from you as well. We started copying from you.
You see,
I remember I
yeah,
had
that's
this
what happens.
big
So
T-shirt.
artists bring the trends. You
Yeah,
know, you
yeah.
bring the new trends, and then people have to emulate. People have to mimic you. So that's why being an artist, it's a very interesting position to be in, because what happens is whatever it is that you do can influence people to do something positive or negative. So that's why we have to be mindful of the things that we say in our songs, the way that we behave in public, and the way that we behave anywhere, because everything that we are doing, it becomes the gospel truth, and people believe it and they want to follow. And that's part of the reason when you listen to my music today, it carries a certain type of message, because I've grown into this person where I realize to say I'm a very influential person, and whatever I say can influence someone to do something, because I can, if I sing about something that is negative, I can influence people to do something negative. And that's why I chose to be, positive minded in the things that I do, in the things that I say, in the things that I sing about, so that I can inspire people to do things positively.
I tell you what, you are truly an inspiration to many. If I look at a thousand comments that are coming through right now, there's anything that somebody comments, there's always an inspiration word coming through behind that. Thank you so much for inspiring a lot of people out there, and of course, you are an inspiration to me as well, and many others out there. We've got many
Thank
people
you
that
so
were
much.
telling me
Thank you.
when they please, please, please make sure you tell him is my inspiration, like so much. He inspires me. We can talk about the likes of JC Chinode. He also sent in a message to forward to you, to make sure that you receive it, that you are an inspiration to him over the things that you've been doing in the past and right now that you are doing. The likes of
Nice
Oscar,
one.
my director, doing the hard work behind the
Oscar
scenes.
Mianda. Big
Yeah,
shout
yeah.
out, brother, man.
Big time. And not
Yeah,
forgetting
Jesse
Mr. Blair
Chinode, big
there.
shout out, man. DJ
Yeah,
Blair,
Mr.
big
Blair
shout
as
out.
well. We've got my graphic designer who was arranged all this beautiful lighting, beautiful stage. I'm not forgetting that we are talking about Mother Zambia here. We have to lift the
Yeah,
Zambian flag, and
yeah,
this is
yeah.
Petty Powers. Petty Powers,
Yeah,
thank you
your
so much
graphics
for that.
designer did a really good job. I saw the artwork, the banner that we were using as a promo for this
Yeah, yeah,
particular
yeah.
interview. It was beautiful.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, so straight into our discussion. Remember, in case you're just joining us, we are discussing the future of Zambian music, and I've got my guest Bflow, Brian Wembia. Others call him Brian Wembia. That's how Barack Obama calls him. He's
Obama
Obama
Jr.,
Jr. right there.
the only son in the White House.
Exactly, the only son in the White House. You can imagine that. Yeah, so yeah, straight into the next thing that we're talking about. Let's talk about your music. All right, when you came on scene now, when you had the first hit you had, How did you react to that? Did you expect that it's going to be a hit song when you're recording, or were you just recording like you've always been recording to say, okay, yeah, today I'm making this song? Did you have that insight to believe that this is going to be a big song? We're talking about your hit song. Tell us about that.
First off, big shout out to Mumba Chakulia. I'm reading the comments while we are talking. So someone
Exactly.
says,
Feel free, my brother.
me
Feel
out."
free. These are your people. These are your big fans. Trust me.
Nice one. You know, being an artist is like being a father.
Yeah.
When you are a father or when you are a mother, you have children and you have to love your children.
Yeah. Yeah.
And usually people ask me questions like, among all the songs that you have ever created or ever produced, which one is your favorite? And I say, it's like being a parent and you're asked in public to say, can you publicly tell us who your favorite child is? You won't say it, but maybe deep down you know, you know. But you see, the thing is, for every song that I ever made, even the time that we used to make music on cassettes before we started recording our songs on CD, the guys that were in Lusaka, you know, who used to record with studios like Cypher or Roma Side or David Sling, which later came to be known as Sling Beats.
Yeah.
Some of the, you know, those guys had access to like studios that were able to produce CDs, but for us, we were doing tapes. So when we were making the songs on tapes, to be honest, you know, it was more like you're just doing it for fun, but you don't know whether this will be appreciated by the people out there.
Yeah.
But when I made my first song on CD, when I was about 17 years of age,
yeah,
I was like, this is a banger. This is a hit. I can't wait for people to listen to it.
Really?
But you know what happened?
Yeah.
People didn't actually think it was a banger. But for me, I believed in it. I was like, this is my banger. But people didn't really accept it or appreciate it there and then because maybe I was inexperienced. I didn't have much experience to know how to promote the music, to know where to take the music. We didn't even know how to shoot a video. Those days, you know, we would imagine like, how come when you're watching a video, you see someone dressed in a red t-shirt like this, the next clip they are dressed in a shirt, the next clip they are dressed in something else. We would wonder like, how do they do this? Champuka and all these things, you know. So we didn't really know how to go about all these things, and so the belief that you have whenever you make a song was that it's a hit. But when songs like Pum Pum Poo, Bubblegum Lava, Energizer started to come, and those were like the real hits, I would say I knew, you know, like the story behind the song Pum Pum Poo, the video that you played. It's a very profound and touching story when you ask me, because I recorded that song 6 times with 6 different producers for it to come and be the Pum Pum Poo that people came to hear. I recorded it with Jerry D. I recorded it with my cousin Artson in Kabwe, because there like I said, we didn't have condenser microphones. So we made the instrumental in Kabwe and then moved with it to take it to Lusaka, where I can use a condenser microphone, work with the likes of Jerry D to record the vocals. Again, I recorded it with Jerry Fingers. Then I recorded it with G Sounds.
Yeah.
I also recorded it with a guy called Justo. And then the 6th version is the one that I recorded with TK. And that's the version that actually made Roma Side to finally give me the contract that I had been pushing for about 3 to 4 years. Because when I moved to Lusaka, I used to walk from Chilenje to town, and then I would get on a bus from town to Roma. Sometimes I would walk from Chilenje all the way to Olympia and then jump on a bus to Roma to try and convince TK that I had some talent and I just wanted them to listen to me, give me an opportunity to start recording music in their studio, because I couldn't afford to pay the fees that they were charging in those days. Those days they would charge like 150,000 kwacha for a song. This is what we call 150 kwacha now. It was like 150,000 those days. And then back then also the culture was you would pay for studio time per hour. So it was 40,000 kwacha per hour, which is now like 40 kwacha, like 40 kwacha per hour. But in that hour, you find that you only have 40 kwacha, 40,000 kwacha. When you pay, maybe they only manage to make the instrumental in that 1 hour. You don't do the vocals. You need to pay another 40,000 kwacha. So if you don't have money, you go back to Kawe. It was quite challenging, but you know, by the grace of God, by the time I recorded that Pum Pum Pum, the final one, the sixth one, I even knew, I said, this song, I've really suffered for it. I've moved from one point to another. I had to chew part of my school fees, you know, when I was going to Unza Ridgeway campus to study my social work. I had to make a plan where I didn't pay for one course because I wanted to use that money to pay the studios for them to mix and master my song. And that's the song that TK listened to. Then he gave me a chance to go and record at Roma Side. And then finally, we released the sixth version of Pum Pum Pum, and that one blew. So it was an emotional experience for me. I was like, I want this song to... The reason I kept recording it again and again and again is because I wasn't convinced that it was sounding the way I wanted it to sound.
So
But
now,
then
just to
again,
hold you
it's the
there.
song I was banking on.
One interesting thing about you know, the Pupupu song, what you've just told me, you are saying that for the sake of the viewers and of course the listeners on radio, you said you had 6, all right, version of Pum Pum Pum. So now, out of all the 6 that you recorded, I know there's always this thing of you know, an artist today will go in the studio, record a song, and boom, they're out. All right. So now with you having 6 version, wow, 6 different version, and then one at last came out there, and you know, it was everywhere on the radio stations and in every club. Everybody's playing it in their phone ringtones. What did you learn from that? What did you learn in terms of, as you are listening, what did you learn? Is it
Yeah.
easy for you to just release a song, or is it profitable to release a song straight there and then you put it on blogs, or rather put it onto the radio stations? What can you
Well, you
encourage an
know,
upcoming artist right now looking up to you, and you know, share your experience with that 6 version? What are the changes and the things that you learned from there?
yeah, well, for me, my biggest lesson in recording this song 6 times and then finally having the 6th version breakthrough was that never give up. And when you believe in something, never give up on it. Because I believed in that song. I had many other songs, yes. I had written like 100 songs. I used to have a song book where I had written songs, and I was like, I'll record maybe 20 songs, and then we'll pick the best 12 for the album and all these things. But that song, when I said it's the song that I want to come out with, because I want to show people the skill that I have. I want to showcase my style of dancehall music. I want to introduce this new style on the scene. I believed in the song. So even when I recorded it the first time with Jerry D, I was like, I still need to do this song. I went and recorded with my cousin in Karwe Artson. Again, I was like, no, this song, I really believe in it, but there's a way you know, as an artist, when you're writing a song, somehow it plays in your ears. You have an idea of how you want it to sound. You have an idea of how the instrumental should sound. Sometimes you even have an idea of what the video should look like. So for me, the lesson there was determination, perseverance, you know, never to relent, never to give up, and just to continue until your dream comes true. Because for me, that song is like a dream. It was like my capital. It's like you're starting to do business, and you've got your capital, and you've got to get it right when you invest for your profits to be able to come forth. So for me, I was like, this song, if I don't get it right, then I'm done for, then I'm doomed. So I've got to do the right thing. And that's why I kept, you know, trying to perfect the song until the 6th time. So the biggest lesson there for me was perseverance, determination, and never listening to what others are saying, because people would, easily discourage me and say, you keep recording the same song over and over again. Maybe it's just not a hit, you know. But for me, I said, no, I'm determined to make this song the hit that I wanted it to be, and indeed, it became a hit, and it became my breakthrough song.
Wow. Wow, it's really amazing to learn that you recorded that song 6 times. Well, for me, I just say, okay, we are going in the studio, let's bang it up. You record,
But you
and then
know,
boom,
that's the
take
thing
it.
about music.
Yeah.
That's the thing about music, because when people are listening to our music, when people are listening to these songs that we release, it's the simplicity of the song makes people think that it is so easy to make these songs, but you don't really know what happens in the background, because an artist can even be recording a song for 1 month or even for 1 week. They are not convinced. They want to keep adding other things until they feel like, okay, now it's perfect. I want it to go out there. So even times where a song flops or a song doesn't do as expected, people start criticizing you and saying, ururwimbo tarwawe sana, this and that. They may never really understand how much work you as an artist have put in for the song to get to, to be released, for you to be convinced that you can actually release this song for public use or public consumption. Sometimes you make songs, they don't make it. Some of the songs that we feel are not really up to the standard, sometimes you're in the studio and you're just playing around with a beat, and you try to release this song. That's the song that people love the most. Sometimes the song that you worked hard for doesn't even make it.
Wow. No, that's really amazing, and to learn from you that you had to record that song 6 times. I think in my experience, when I did some songs back in the days, I think learning from your experience right now, recording a song 6 times, and this is a song that you put out, and then you withhold it, and then say, no, I'm not 100% sure that this is fine, because I remember I was recording with do you remember Omoja Sound?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Omoja Sound. The big man is late now. May his soul rest in
Yeah,
peace.
Johnny, J Polite.
Yeah. So when I go there, and then Manasseh was the producer at that time when we were recording something there. So when we recorded a song, we did a reply to the song by PJ the late, may his soul rest in peace, with Jenna Osborne. Yeah. Ukunshane kale lote
Yeah,
tichiwami.
no.
So we actually changed the song to it ukunshale kalelo tetingwale yo tetingwale, like I won't care. Yeah. So when we were recording that song, Manasseh kept on telling us to say, look, I'm not happy with what you've done today, so go back, go and listen to what you've done, what you've recorded today. I'll give you, go and listen to it. If you feel you're happy, I'm going to mix it and finish it. If you feel you're not happy, so what in that sense of him telling us that, what I've learned according to your experience of recording a song 6 times is something that a producer, other people would want to tell them off to say no, tawimbire bwino, tabomfa bwino. They don't like that. What they want is naiwama at all time. But indirectly, certain producers will tell you to say no, go and listen to it. If you're happy, and then come back and then we mix it. So it's about having determination, and of course listening, making notes of taking note of all the mistakes, if at all there is any, and you finally have the final product. So in case there's an upcoming artist there, I'm sure you are listening very attentively and learning into jump into the music journey. Make sure you take all those points before you come out and put out a song out there. It's very important you take your time, listen to it, play it, to give it to other music engineers that are good in terms of looking at such things, so that they can advise you, not for the sake of you putting it out there and they start laughing at you, which is very bad. So learn from my brother Bflow there. As
I'm reading comments there. I'm reading comments on the screen, and a lady called Charity is asking to say, DJ Kauzy also used to record.
You know what? Last week on Saturday. Sorry, I was being interviewed by Blair. So Blair, he's got his shows, which comes on Saturdays with Shyman, and it's called what is it called again? I've forgotten the name of the show. So he brings artists, different artists, but now he brought DJs. So I was one of the DJs to be interviewed on that. So when I started telling him the story about, me being a recording artist, not a DJ, it was like, wow, really? So my sister in South Africa commented, Doreen, she commented to say, I actually have videos of you. So Charity, look out for my video. I can't bring it online. Trust me. No. I was thin, like you see how Bflow was looking in those big trousers. I don't want to be. Yeah. I don't want to show it like that. So come privately to me, and then I'll show you that video. Otherwise, yeah. Thank you so much, Charity, for those comments, and everybody that is following us on our Facebook, YouTube channel. That is Soul 9 Radio, as well as on Facebook and Facebook page for Bflow. Charity, we can always talk about that. But in the meantime, we've got questions that are coming. Comments that are coming that are very interesting. And of course, we've got that segment where we're going to talk about those. We're going to highlight on those questions and of course the comments. But in the meantime, let's take a short break. And this one is going to be a short break. My producer, please make it short as possible so that we can get back. I know my brother needs to refresh. He needs to have a drink of water. He's been talking too much, so that he keeps lecturing the upcoming artists, and we are getting inspired and learning. Maybe I might get back in the music industry, but no, I love my DJ. All right, let's get back on the other side. We'll be back.
Yo, TK, yeah, the best of the best. Give me rhythmical fire. Me have to dedicate a little something to the voiceless women. Yeah, man, chances now. In good and in bad times, in pain and in sickness, you death do us part. Those were your many promises. Why you turn around from sweet to bitter? Why you turn around beating a woman? Why you turn around instigating violence? Why you turn around, she has a sweet voice but she's still voiceless. A very pretty woman, why you make her helpless? Do you remember that she was a pretty empress? You're making a living and making her very voiceless. She has a sweet voice but she's still voiceless. A very pretty woman, why you make her helpless? Do you remember that she was a pretty empress? You're making a living and making her very helpless. She's a voiceless woman, you mukazi ya butika. She's a voiceless woman, you mukazi ya butika. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Never, never worry, it's alright. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Wila lila, I'll be your voice. She was a little girl with a bright future. She worked so hard, she was like a real soldier. But you see, this life can be so hard sometimes. Her mother and father died in just one night. I still remember that bad incident when them died in that accident. A little girl busy looking at the time, waiting for mommy and daddy to return. When the young girl picked up the phone, she was told that the parents were gone. Could not believe that she was left alone, to be kept by the uncle. Manjeva uncle onani peva tita, batenga mwana shuwa kumukatakata. Vamukula no muonongela future, adwala matenda vamutwaliza. Voiceless woman, you mukazi ya butika. She's a voiceless woman, you mukazi ya butika. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Never, never worry, it's alright. Pretty, pretty woman, don't cry. Wila lila, I'll be your voice. Sekeni nomba nande kona paba nandi. Bali abakula no kulaba abafyashi. Nomba abafyashi nga wabashafye panshi. Inani umbi ukabe myakanshi. Ala abafyashi bena bala tuchulila. Inenshi faya ukumona balelila. Bamayo galaba bombela. We munandi ule basengela. Bagayi nga bakwata mane. Chalo chilalo wa manole. bambi bapela kofya mahane abapyashi bachula kubile bamwe abapyashi balalomba pamsebo tebakolete mane yakuti bambe kwa makwebo ere bambi balikota kabilite kufaya kwabo balomba te wabakwidwe mwana wabo. She's a voiceless woman uyo mukazi abutika. She's a voiceless woman uyo mukazi abutika. Pretty woman, don't you cry. Never worry, it's alright. Pretty woman, don't cry. Wila lila, I'll be your voice.
Mukazi ni patali.
Yes. Hey!
Welcome back.
I stand with Eva.
I stand with Eva.
You know that in Zambia, young people serving their mother's sentences are the most vulnerable.
The Eva Chavala Foundation is an initiative that was formed in 2012 in Zambia. Its aim to look after disadvantaged and vulnerable children that the legal system has left behind.
Prison reform.
I stand with Eva because every child deserves the full chance to maximize their potential, irrespective of the mistakes their parents have made. I stand with Eva because we will not forget the children of the incarcerated and what impact this has on their lives.
Studies have shown that children whose mothers are sent to prison are more likely than their peers to have future problems. These include criminal offending, mental health problems, and drug and alcohol addictions.
Collaboration and unity are the way forward. I stand with the Eva Chavala Foundation.
So Online Radio stands with Eve.
There is power in collaboration. So Online Radio stands with Eva Chavala Foundation Trust.
We at So Online Radio stand with Eva.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still hanging out with Bflow, and we are discussing the future of Zambian music. We are learning from the legends. And this is the Weekend Unlocked show on So Online Radio. So if you want to catch me on Thursdays, it's actually every Thursdays from 7 p.m. UK time to 10 p.m. That is how I carry on my show. But when I have a guest, it's 1 hour to 2 hours for the show. So catch me next week as I'll be having a show just on radio, and make sure you tune in. You can download our app on Google Play Store as well as Apple Play Store. So make sure you keep on following us and never miss a chance of, we might bring your favorite guest. So be on the lookout. Bflow, welcome back.
Thank you, my brother. I went to bring some water and to choose something.
You have to quench the thirst because we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Fast forward. Let's talk about piracy in Zambia before we start talking about the achievements you've had, and besides Zambian music, and of course you as Bflow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about piracy in Zambia. How you've been, you were once, I don't know if you're still holding the position of secretary at Zambia Association of Musicians. How are you caving, or rather, how are you caving the piracy in terms of Zambian music?
Okay, piracy has been part of us for as long as I can remember. It's been a very, very big challenge in Zambian music. It's been a problem that people used to discuss even in the times of people like Larry Maluma. I've watched some interviews even on YouTube where Larry Maluma was being interviewed on ZNBC, and he would talk about piracy. So piracy has been there for a long time. But I think in our time, because of technology and people having access to all these machines that were making cassettes and CDs, it became worse. It became rampant, and it became very difficult to fight it. And I remember that one of the interventions that government came up with in about 10 years ago or maybe 12 years ago was to introduce what they call a hologram that they used to put on CDs and cassettes, which used to determine or used to be like what people would use to determine what an authentic CD or cassette is against a fake one, because the fake ones would not have a hologram. So they introduced the hologram, but unfortunately it came a bit too late, because it came at a time when flash disks had already come, memory cards had already started. So people would buy, if one person goes to Sounds Investments and buys my tape, they would get that tape and put their transfer the music to their phones, or they'll get my CD from Sounds Investments, and then they'll go and use, what was that software, Nero, and then they put the music they put the music on a computer, and then they put it on a flash, or they connect their phone cable and they put the music on a phone. Once it's on a phone, not so long ago, we used to have things like in the BlackBerry days, we used to have that BBM thing. People would share the songs even on BBM. WhatsApp came, people would share the music even on WhatsApp, and that's how the music now just travels to different parts. And then you have these people making these making these tapes, fake CDs called New Z Mix. These are like collections. So instead of people buying my album, my full album, they only want that one hit song. They get another hit song from Shyman, another hit song from Danny, one hit song from PJ, one hit song from Ranel. Before you know it, they have like a collection of hit songs. They have a
collection of a hit song.
Exactly.
A hit record already.
And they are selling it for they are selling that whole collection of the cream de la cream for as low as 5 kwacha. Wow. Whereas the authentic tape that I'm selling, or the authentic CD, which is in Sounds, I want to sell it for like 50 kwacha or 100 kwacha. So my authentic one is competing against the pirated one, which is on the street, and that became very difficult. So people started buying only the pirated ones. They are feeling lazy to go all the way to Sounds Investments to go and buy the authentic one. But what that did was, the more people are buying the pirated copies, the more the music became popular, because people are having easy access to the songs. They are sharing it on their phones, so it becomes very popular. But you as a brand, as an artist, you don't have anything to show for the popularity that you are earning. You're not earning money, but you're becoming famous, and that's dangerous. That's a dangerous position to be in, because you become a broke superstar. You're a superstar. You can't afford to buy a car. You can't afford to brand yourself and have a good image, buy good clothes, all these things. So it became very, very difficult for all of us, and people would make fun of us. These musicians, all these things, because we were not really making the money, and all you could do is just brand yourself, fake it till you make it, try to look good, but things are not good because of piracy. So we've been fighting a very big fight, and now thanks to the digital platforms that have come up now, because now what's happening is, if someone has an iPhone and they're using iTunes to purchase my music, at least they won't be able to share that music. They will only be able to share that playlist with another person who's paid for that service, maybe. Platforms like Spotify and all these things. But now the other problem that we have when it comes to piracy is that artists, we pirate our own music by putting out free download links where people access the music for free. And when people are downloading that music, they think they are supporting us. They even say, I support you because I download your songs. So there's need to
not I buy your songs, but I download your songs for free.
So we need to raise more awareness now to make our listeners, our fans, our followers understand that when you download my music for free, or when you access it for free by asking another person to say, do you have this song? Send it to me without paying for it. You're actually killing my career. You're not helping me. You're not supporting me, because I'm not receiving any money from you downloading the song for free. So you need to go and buy it from Spotify, get it from iTunes, get it from Vesesani, or go and click my YouTube link and watch my video from my YouTube channel, because when you do that, at least I'll get paid for the views, or I'll get paid for the adverts that are running on my YouTube channel if the channel is monetized. So now we are moving to these digital platforms, and we need to learn new ways of selling our music. But not every Zambian artist understands these things, because because but now, like in the COVID times, COVID has actually made a lot of artists to wake up and realize that because we're not performing, we need to sell our music now. We need to,
Let me
to
pause
sell
you
our
there.
song.
Let me pause you there. All right, you talked about you talked about what did you talk about? Yeah, you talked about the the introduction, or rather the advancement of the internet. All right, where we saw BBM, it came on board, WhatsApp came on board, easy communication. Do you think that has helped the piracy, or it is disadvantaging?
I think it has propelled it. It has contributed to the piracy, being there. On one hand, you could say it has helped to promote the music for marketing purposes. It's easy to send out music, but then the problem is we send everything, like the whole song. If you look at platforms like Spotify and iTunes, they've got that thing where they do like a snippet, like a dionko, where you can just listen briefly. Then you say, "Oh, I like this song," and then for you to get the song, now you have to pay.
So now, can I pose another question there? So, if I say, or should I put the blame to the artist for that misplacement?
Well, you can say yes and no. If artists are using WhatsApp to share free links, then you can blame the artist. But if artists are sharing links that lead maybe to their iTunes, that leads to their Spotify, that leads to their YouTube, where they get paid, then you can't really blame them. But what happens is when people, you can also blame the person that buys and decides to start sharing. Because when you buy something, you're supposed to treasure it and say, for me, I bought it, I paid for it, and I won't give it to you for free. You also need to buy, so that we can support this artist. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I've seen a lot of artists that have put out songs, and they've done everything possible to make sure that it's on Spotify, but you find it on a free downloading website. What do you say about such artists?
Yeah, that has really killed us as well, because there are times when you as an artist, you become very principled and you just say, I want to put out my music at a fee. I don't want anybody to access it for free. But these guys with their technology, if they manage to get your songs and then they put it on free downloads sites, if it's the artist that says, okay, I want my song to be on www.zambianmusicblog.co, and I want it to be out there for free because maybe this is my EP, or this is my this is just like a mixtape or something, it's okay, because it's the artist that wants to do that. But if the artist says, like, I can give a very good example of, let's say, Slap D, who recently released Mother Tongue. And that album, he says, I want this album to be out there, not for free, but I want people to access it by paying for every song that they're listening to. I want people to buy this song in order to try and help to improve the whole culture.
All the process goes to
the culture of buying music. But then people that manage to buy the songs, once they have the CD or they have the song on their phone, they start sharing on WhatsApp, or email or Bluetooth. Once they share, that's piracy. Then the music goes. Now, when people have accessed it for free already, why should they buy it on Vesesani? Why would they buy it on iTunes? Why would they buy it on Apple Music? Why would they buy it? Why would they even go to YouTube to listen to it for you to have those views? And it becomes difficult like that. So that's where we need to help each other. There's a lot of awareness that needs to be raised for people to understand that you need to buy, you need to pay for it.
All right. There are some comments that are coming through, and to be specific, Asanike, the Hard Rocks. I don't know. Yeah, this guy here. He has been making, some comments that are, connecting to what we'll be discussing as we end the show. But in this case, he says piracy is a two-way traffic. On the contrary, it made most artists famous. Bflow, when you look at most platforms today, the idea is to offer reasonable services constituted by prepared advertising to safely provide both the customer and the content creator for a reasonable price. So now it's a numbers and awareness business. Do you agree?
I do agree in part. I do agree, especially with the first part where he says piracy is a two-way traffic. It made most artists famous. I think I did mention this. I did mention to say people became very popular, but they had nothing to show for the popularity.
All right. So an artist becomes famous, but no money in the pocket. Is that right?
Exactly, because people are downloading the songs for free and they are sharing the songs. So the more they share, the more people know about the existence of this song. So now what it ended up doing was it gives the artist the popularity that makes you become very attractive to the show organizers or the promoters or the people that can hire you for you to go and perform at the show. Because you have become popular and your song has become popular because it's moving too fast for free because people are not paying. And to be honest, I don't mean to badmouth us as Zambians, but Zambians love free things.
Free things.
Zambians love free things. So when people say, you've got the song, send it to me. But the person they're asking bought it, but they want to get it for free. And so as it is going for free, it is becoming very famous, very popular. The new as the artists are becoming very famous. So these people are listening to your songs, which are moving through piracy, are the same people that will come and support you at the shows. So now you have to depend on the shows. But now imagine, what if you have a fracture? What happens when you cannot be hired to go and perform at a show, or when you don't have an endorsement with a corporate entity, with a big company that wants to use you as a brand ambassador? You need to also be able to get money from your sales. If today we know that Nicki Minaj has retired from music, but she's still eating, she's still making money off, the content that she has out there. That's how it's supposed to be.
So do you think artists, those that give out music for free, do you think they want to get famous and have shows?
Yes, exactly. I'm a culprit myself. I've been a culprit myself,
So initially,
we are moving.
The Zambian music
This is 2021.
Sorry to cut you short. The Zambian music has been pirating their own music, all right, because they are not able to sell, to make money through the albums. So they make money through the shows. Is that right?
Yes, that's very true. And and the culture of releasing albums is no longer there because people haven't been releasing albums. They've been releasing singles. So you release one single and you want that single to be very popular. So you put it out for free so that people can get it so quickly just using their bundles.
They start hiring you, going to perform in 2 clubs.
Exactly. But that's a bad way of doing business. Yeah, but that's a bad way of doing business because when you have loyal fans, they're supposed to buy your songs. Exactly. They are supposed to buy your songs, and at the same time, they're supposed to come for your shows as well. One of the reasons artists put out their music for free download also is because some radio presenters have proved to be a bit corrupt. Like they won't play the songs on radio. They will say, check it out on the shamo, give me a little something for me to. So now if you're an upcoming artist if you're an upcoming artist who has never made any money, you've never, done any show where you can get some money, how are you going to manage to pay this radio presenter who wants to charge you to play a song? So that also made a lot of artists to now start putting out their music for free using online platforms like, social media, so that, the music can just go out there even without passing through radio. And what that does is it kills the industry in a way as well. It kills the industry. So that made a lot of artists become desperate. So we became very desperate and we started putting out music for free because of all these challenges that we were facing, where you put out music, others are pirating it, you're trying to get your music played on radio and TV, people are asking you to pay. So you have to find a shortcut that makes you more famous for you now to get more shows, and then the shows can pay you. But now even the shows stopped paying people very well, because every weekend people are going to these clubs to watch these performances. But now every weekend people are watching you in this club, or they were paying, and then other clubs now started introducing free entry. So if people are watching you for free, your value goes down, because people are saying, turamtamba for free, tatulipira. They can't put a price to your name. Exactly. So they can't.
So now,
they can't
are you an advocate? Are you an advocate for artists performing in clubs? Do you advocate to that as an artist to perform in clubs, other than having festivals, having concerts? That somebody who comes specifically, they know in their mind they're coming to watch Bflow, and like going to the club where they know they are going to have a drink and listen to the selection of a DJ, and here comes in an artist. So what do you say about that?
Well, I don't want to be misquoted as the guy that said we should ban clubs, because
No. The promoters won't die. Don't worry. We are discussing here. We are discussing the future of Zambian music, and if there is a well-meaningful promoter out there that wants to see Zambian music to go as far as we saw Burna Boy, all right, Burna Boy winning their Grammy Awards, all right. This is a big award for Africa. We celebrate as Africa. Why can't we have the same to celebrate as Zambia? All right.
Yeah.
So Bflow
I have interacted.
only answering just to set the record straight and plan for the future. So
I've interacted with artists. I've interacted with artists like P Square, where we were in Malaysia one time, and P Square were also performing, and I was performing in a club in Malaysia. They were performing in a stadium, and when we interacted, one thing we learned was that they created a standard for themselves, where they said when they started, they used to sing in clubs.
Yeah.
Then later on, they changed and said we only do stadiums. They don't overprice the entry fee for the stadium in order to make sure that they have a huge quantity of people coming to watch them. And that's how you get, like the numbers, and that it was easy for them even to like go platinum according to like African standards, because you are selling at a lower price, but you're getting a big number of people supporting what you're doing. So for me, the clubs, I don't think that it is every single club that opens that should be given the right to host music events, because some clubs are so small, but they are still trying to host a very big artist, and that sort of undervalues and devalues the artist in a way. If we can have certain, big clubs that have a big capacity, first of all, and also respect art by adding a price to to the entry fee, to the entry part of things, where you say if the artist is coming to perform, we are going to charge 100 kwacha or 50 kwacha entry fee. But because other clubs are doing free entry, it is difficult even for the big clubs to host events where they are charging people, because people are so used to going to watch artists for free. So we need people that are very serious, and we need more festivals. Actually, we also need more venues, because we don't really have these venues where people can actually go and watch events. And I want to talk about decent venues where families can go. You know,
Exactly.
you're with your kids, mother, father, kids. You're there with your wife, and you want to sit and have a good time. You don't want to be in a place where or people are fighting and all these things.
Yeah.
We need decency to be added to the creative industry, where people can go and watch a concert, sit in a VIP nicely, not a VIP where you lie to people and say we've got VIP and we've got VVIP, but when you enter there, the
When you
experience
meet
is
there,
not
you just
close
mix.
to a VIP.
Oh my God. And the most sad part is that I pay for VIP. I want to stand in the VIP and I want to see Bflow performing here on next to me. All right. And then I've paid VIP charge, or rather cover. And then I have this person who has not even paid. He has just backslide. You know what I mean? As in, Bashan. You know,
Yeah, there's a special word. There's a special word
without
that they
invitation.
use.
What do they call?
Get crashing. Get crashing.
Get crash. Exactly. Not get crashers. All right. And then you see this get crasher holding a mosi, or rather a drink. He's been holding that drink for 2 hours. All right. And he comes in front of me. On top of that, they are pushing him, and then he spills the beer on you. You know what I mean? So I think if we move in that direction of having concerts, I'm sure we can see Zambian music to go very far. Look at the way Kalandanya Music Promotion, if they can do such an event, all right, if they did such an event, why can't we go through that route, such that we just cut out clubbing? All right, if those artists that love clubbing, they can go just for chills. All right, they be in the VIP section. They are there,
Yeah.
and in case maybe people want to take photos, that's the experience that we want, so that people can
That's
go
a
there.
very
Just
good idea.
they'll know, okay, that VIP section is protected. Bflow is there. If you want a photo, you can also make money. All right, people want photo. It's up to you. If you want to charge them to take a photo with you, it's all up to you. That way you are protected. All right, you've got security there, and then off you go. You just spend a little time there, interact with fans, off you go. All right.
Yes.
I think that
Yes.
if we can move in that route, then we can see Zambian music to go far. All right. I
That's
want
a
to
very
see
good
I
idea.
want to see artists come to the UK performing in the O2 Arena. All right, not
Yes.
in these other venues. I know it's hard, but we can make it. If only we have discipline, if only the artists get to be disciplined and put up certain policies and give these policies to the promoters. If they can follow,
Yeah.
boom, they are on to go. Why do we have international artists come to Zambia performing in a stadium? Why can't we do it? We need to learn from
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Yeah.
The show
That's very true.
business has to be done. I really need to have an interview with one of the promoters from Zambia, so that I can understand how these things work.
Yeah, I think you
maybe
should also host
might be missing
maybe.
something. And
You can also host people from the Zambia Music Copyright Protection Society, ZAMCOPS,
Yeah.
as well as the Zambia Association of Musicians. And I remember earlier you had asked me if I'm still in ZAM. And ZAM, I used to be the spokesperson. I used to be the publicity secretary.
Yeah, publicity secretary.
But I had to resign because the working environment at that particular time for me wasn't what I expected it to be, and I thought I could pave way for other people to be able to do their work. But unfortunately, nothing much has happened, and we need to reorganize ourselves as artists and push forward and see how we can build the capacity of platforms like ZAMCOPS and ZAM and National Arts Council, so that they can work together and come up with the right policies that will protect Zambian artists. Because we've also seen, even like in terms of how Zambian artists are treated, when an artist from another country comes to Zambia, they are in the VIP. The Zambian artist is told you can be with the fans there, you can't even enter. There are all these challenges that we have faced that have contributed to our brands not being respected, and we need to do more. And now with the coming of all these, new record labels like KMP and Nexus, we can only hope that the value of the artists can really be respected now, that they can be protected, because there's management and a big machinery behind them.
Yeah. Well, it's a very difficult situation, and it's very hard. It's a matter of understanding and putting up the terms and conditions, policies that are going to guide. Because every business, for it to be successful, you need to have certain things that you're going to say, I can't do this, I can do this, I can't do this, in order for the business to be successful. You understand? So it's important as an artist, if you can put up such things, such guidelines, such that a promoter comes in to say, Bflow, I want to host you in, let's say, in Chipata. You ask which venue, all right? Look at, you should have the right to know which event you are going to perform, because at the end of the day, your branding is what will take you that far.
That's very true. And I think that we need to have some sort of standards as artists as well, where maybe at the moment, if we can't phase out performing in clubs, then we should have some structures where we say an artist who's at this level can be the one to perform in a club, whereas the artist who's at that level should be the one you should be able to see at a concert, at a festival, at a big government event, or performing at those big venues like Mulungushi Conference Center, government complex. Those should be for a certain level of artists, and then the ones that are coming out, the ones that are trying to showcase, are the ones that can be performing at the clubs, because they are trying to get their names out there to be known by the people. Then once they know you, then you start to elevate and get to that next level, because we can't be doing the same things that we were doing 10 years ago, still doing a free show in a club where there's no respect, there's no VIP, nothing like that. We need to be elevating from the club. You move now, you're at the level of government complex and Mulungushi. Next, you need to say, no, I'm going to be performing now in another country. Next, the O2 Arena. Next, the Coca-Cola Dome in South Africa. Those kinds of things.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been to the Coca-Cola Dome in South Africa. It's very amazing. And I saw who's this one? Caspar Noves.
Yes,
he made it. Okay, he made it. He used to perform in small arenas. All right, but the Coca-Cola Dome is one of the biggest in South Africa for entertainment wise. And they even do. I think they've started doing now gymnastic in there. So he filled up that dome. All right, with the hope and the standard he had put for himself to say, look, these are my criterias that every promoter will need to come and sign with me. If they can't, I won't. What do? Concentrate on streaming platforms. Start making your money on streaming platforms. Simple as that. Then we are going to see our Zambian artists elevating to that level where, they will be able to collaborate with big international artists out there. I think if we take that route, we'll truly improve. Let's take our last break, and as we come back, we'll be talking about the future, the advancement of Zambian music. Add that now. We'll be right back.
Batifuti walipontele atitafichinja nangolamba botele ulia mwaka twalivotele MP elo kansela twavotele alikwi alikukila kutauni dombe fintu vikachinja shani ngamwatula wakonga mwaingila pachani fwemisepela tukabomba shani ngatwapwisho kuvota mwatuposa pansi amakayobe yaba mwivotiliani niwe wine wentungulushiyani wilandekelesha komboni tivutikapa Kasange tumatandi Ikawa my life yandi Nakwata victory I know I'll find my victory Kasange tumatandi Ikawa my life yandi Nakwata victory I know I'll find my victory. Are you 18? All of a very soon you'll be turning 18. The near right age to do the right things. If I keep it will stop the doubting. Hey, hey, Fusako bena fije bena kavindele. Mana kwanesa kwanje kusigale mele. Mana licheba fana iwe don't be lazy. Osa yembekeza boma kamon kala busy. Kuseni uli mumadizi. Ima puto ili yonse niba governmenti. Nyamuka pe uli find the right direction. My dedication to me generation. Aiko no kuwaya waya. Abena Lucy imwena bena bwalia. Abena Judy na bena chanda. Wilabako webeko na bena banda. Nkasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Nakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory. Nkasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Nakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory.
Uchita chani iwe munzangam Antawi itikinga iwe tamangam Osankala chabeno zibovam Kuyembekeza bumati iza sovam Wikatila kutisha kwebele Na life inga chinji ngati unga believe Sipelele chifundo nyamuka pamupando Sika kwilizana manja tinga chinje ziko
Aiko no kuwaya waya Abena Lucy imwena bena bwalia Abena Judy na bena chanda Wilabako webeko na bena banda Aiko no kuwaya waya Abena Lucy imwena bena bwalia Abena Judy na bena chanda Wilabako webeko na bena banda Nkasange tumatandi Ikawa my life yandi Nakwata victory I know I'll find my victory Nkasange tumatandi Ikawa my life yandi Nakwata victory I know I'll find my victory Nkasange tumatandi Ikawa my life yandi Nakwata victory I know I'll find my victory Nkasange tumatandi Ikawa my life yandi Nakwata victory I know I'll find my victory.
Uno mwaka ndenonka chino chaka ndenonka ine uno mwaka ndenonka
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still hanging out with Bflow. We are still hanging out with Bflow. I think I can try that. Yeah, so my guest is Bflow right about now. And, you're tuned into Soul 9 Radio and exclusive to the Weekend Unlocked. In case you're just joining us, we are discussing the future of Zambian music. And for the record's sake, my guest is Bflow. And if you have any comments that you would like to for him to share right now, explain to you, feel free to give us a comment in the comment section, and my producer will bring it on and we'll discuss it. We are going into a final session of a discussion tonight on the Weekend Unlocked and the future of Zambian music. All right, so let's talk about the what strength that makes you believe to be a good artist. What strength do you have that make you to become that great artist?
Well, for me, my strength is my story, my background. I think it has contributed a lot to me being the artist I am, and also the kind of reception that I've gotten from the people that support my music. Based on how I've been raised, I think a lot of people have described me as maybe a humble person, because I believe that humility is one way of learning, because when you're humble, a lot of people can approach you, you're approachable, and a lot of people can advise you, and a lot of people can help you. So when you are an open door like that, an open book like that, people will come and offer advice, and that advice you use it to grow as an artist. And then I also treasure my networks, my connections. I treasure them. I treasure relationships. When I'm friends with someone, they are there. I keep them as my friends. They are part of my support system, because it's not easy to be an artist. It comes with its own challenges. It comes with frustrations. It comes with a lot of lows, some highs. A lot of highs and lows as well, because it's also a lonely place to be in, and these are things that artists rarely talk about, because when people see you entertaining others, they think you're also entertained, but you don't have people to entertain you. All you do is dedicate all your time in trying to make other people happy, but who is there to make you happy? We have our lonely moments. It's not easy to be at the top. You can be at the top, but it's lonely up here, because everyone thinks you have it all. People can't always help you because they believe you know it all. Guys suffer depression because people don't understand that there are things that you're also dealing with. People expect you to be, this superhuman who can't make mistakes. When you make a mistake, everybody is on you. People are bashing you. People are trashing you. And all these things that artists and other public or influential people get to experience, it's not easy. But for me, I believe that what makes it easy for me is just being humble, being down to earth, and recognizing the fact that we are all human beings and you need to treat people with respect, because when you're humble, people can help you, and that's how you create a strong base and a strong support system. But to that, and to add to that, I would say, hard work. My hard work is one of the strengths that I have, because I always work hard. Because, like I said, it has a lot to do with my background, where I'm coming from. I've seen how I have suffered. If people that are on my Facebook page right now can see my last post, and look at the type of chairs we used to sit on with my mother, that should give you a background or an idea of where I'm coming from. And because of that background, I don't want to go back to that life, and that's why I worked so hard, and that's where my strength is. My strength is perseverance, never giving up.
There you have it. That is Bflow giving us a story, and of course, his greatest, achievement that makes him believe to be that good artist. If you want to be a good artist out there, make sure you take one or two things from what has been said from our guests tonight, and this is Bflow. Let's talk about in high school. Did you play any instrument? You've been so passionate about music and seeing where you've come from. Do you at all play any instrument, musical instrument to be specific?
So when I was at Cabo Secondary School, I used to be like those clubs that I mentioned, like the Anti-AIDS Club, where I was president. I used to compose music. So I used to be more of a songwriter. I would write songs about HIV/AIDS awareness. I remember we did a song called "AIDS is Real," and on that song I was rapping, and I would get other people to sing the chorus. I worked hand in hand with a teacher called Mr. Chikonde, who was the patron for the club, and we used to write songs for the club. The only instrument that I would play at the time, because at school we never really had like access to a lot of instruments, no drums or guitars, but we would have the traditional instruments like the drums, like the traditional drum ngoma. So I used to play ngoma, which is an instrument as well, which we still incorporate even in the music that we make today. The other instrument that I was very passionate about, which I used to play here and there, sometimes in church, is the keyboard, or the piano, as we like to call it. But one of the instruments I was really passionate about was the drums, but I never got access to them. I never got to play the drums, so the passion died down as well. But I try with the keyboard, and I'm good with the traditional drum as well. Those are some of the instruments that I would play.
Okay. So have you mentored or trained any artist, and what did you do to help them?
I have helped quite a number of artists. Unfortunately, sometimes I choose to remain, discreet about it and not want to blow my own horn and say, oh, I helped that one and I helped that one and I helped that one. But maybe I can talk about the platform that I created called Music for Change, which is you could call it a social enterprise that is about to transition into a record label, focusing on artists that use music to advocate for positive social change. And we try to give a platform to different artists. We work with many artists that have passed through Music for Change, be it in terms of events or recording. And currently, we're also helping, younger artists. Earlier, you had mentioned D2. I've also worked closely with from way back. I've worked with artists like JC Starboy. I've worked with artists like Cantu. I've provided platforms for artists like Z Pride. Currently, we have Ron K and
Okay,
Aladdin.
and what's his other name?
Yeah,
The
so
duo,
Ron
the
K.
two duo. Ron K
Yes,
and
yes, yes. And Aladdin. They are called Z Pride.
yeah, Z Pride. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and many other artists that we work with. So for now, I've focused more on the new artists because I can see the challenges that they are facing. It's not easy to get a new artist to be signed even to a record label. Record labels are trying to focus more on the established artists because they know that it's easier for them to make money with someone who is already known. But the truth of the matter is, established artists sometimes can also run out of ideas, and they need to feed off new ideas from the new artists, and the new artists need a platform. They need opportunities. They need the opportunity more than the established artists because the established artist has seen it all when it comes to Zambia. And the next thing they're looking forward to is now to start collaborating with artists like Davido, trying to work with the likes of Burna Boy or AKA other artists out there, pushing at the international stage than being in Zambia competing with an upcoming artist. Let the upcoming artists shine, and they need to be given a platform now more than ever.
Yeah. All right. Since you've mentioned about the two record labels that have come on board, I know for the fact that Nexus has been around in the early 2002, and all of a sudden they had to call it off, and we were not able to see them. By then, we had Mondo Music. Mondo Music promoted a lot of artists in the likes of JK, the likes of Rough Kid was also attached to that, and many others. Leo Muntu, we can talk about them. So, with the coming of Nexus and Kalandanya Music Promotion, I saw your submission on Facebook 2 days ago. You made about 4 submissions. And if director can please provide me with those submissions and with the 4 submissions that our guest made, so that we can talk about them as we wrap up the show for tonight. As director is preparing that, let's talk about the coming in of Kalandanya Music Promotion and Nexus. Do you think Zambia has now been covered under one umbrella, that we are going to see artists elevating to that point where we need to say we've got Zambian artists?
First of all, I must say it is commendable, and it's great that we now have record labels, because we used to have record labels back then, like you rightly put it. Yeah, we used to have Mondo Music,
yeah,
and we used to have platforms like Movie Studios. We used to have Zambia Rhythm Project, Zambia Rhythm Promotions.
Yeah.
We used to have something called Africa that helped artists like Crazy, Winston Moyo, Red Lin. So there were all these record labels that existed, back in the day. But then, with time, because of the piracy that you and I were discussing earlier, they had to leave. Like Shisha Polotia, who used to run Mondo Music, had to go in the education sector now to run Rhodes Park School. People ventured into other things because the record label business wasn't paying them well. And then now, as of 2020 and 2021, we see Nexus, we see KMP coming on board and starting to do the business that the likes of Mondo were doing back then. It's a step in the right direction, as long as they can do it in the right way, by providing a platform for the right artists to be on them. Because the recommendations that I made when I talked about signing upcoming artists, in the business sense, we know that it's easier to make money off artists that are already made. But these artists, like an established artist, like myself, for example, what I'm looking for right now is not exposure in Zambia, because Zambia already knows me. I'm looking for exposure in London so that I can fill the O2 Arena one day. I'm looking for exposure in Nigeria and West Africa, where there is Wizkid, where there is Omale, where there is Rema. I'm looking for that platform so that I can, broaden my horizon. So if a record label is going to sign me, then they need to look at the stage I'm at. That I'm done with Zambia. I've achieved everything you can achieve in Zambia. I've won the biggest award in Zambia, a Zambian Music Award. I've won a Kwacha Music Award. I've won a recognition award. I've received an award from the president. I've done it all when it comes to Zambia. So take me where I don't exist. Take me where they don't know me. That should be the strategy. Then sign an upcoming artist or a rising artist, and let that artist be known in Zambia until they also get to this level I've reached, where I feel like Zambia has become a bit small and I need to now move out there and win a whole new fan base to add to the fan base that I have that is supporting me in Zambia. Those are some of the strategies that I'm thinking about. And also, when it comes to the signing, my third, I think it was like my second or third recommendation, and now that it's scrolling on the screen, was about when you sign already established artists, then they should also play the role of being a mentor, being the one that can nurture the talent of the upcoming artist, because the new artist is looking for someone who can help them understand how the music industry operates. But if we're going to be competing where you say the rising artists and the already established artists are now in competition, it becomes pointless, because why should I be competing with a new artist who's just coming? Why should Bflow be competing with HD Empire? I should allow the young ones to shine. I should teach them what they don't know. I should teach them the business side of the music industry. I should teach them what they don't understand so that they don't make the mistakes that I made, while I am also now moving to the next level to try and take my music out there.
All right.
So those are some of the recommendations that I made.
The first recommendation that you made, and this is prioritizing the signing of unknown artists like Mondo did, with the likes of JK, Black Muntu, Chatel, Tribal Cousins, Yesu Culture, who were new artists at the time. We can learn from the Mondo history book. When we invest in new artists, we invest in the future.
That's true.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, when we invest in new artists, definitely we invest in the future. They are the future. That's why when you hear someone says youth or children are the leaders of tomorrow, it's true, because they are the ones that have the fresh ideas, and they are the ones that can surprise you. I don't think that at this particular time there are so many surprises that an already established artist can make, because you have heard from them for a very long time, and they need to stop compete. They can't be competing with the one who's coming up, because it's, like I said, it's pointless. My target now should be to try and compete with an artist on my level, or an artist who's been in the industry long enough to understand the things that I understand in another country. I say, oh, okay, now let's go and compete with the likes of Ja Praiser in Zimbabwe, who's also pushing at continental level.
For the sake of time, let's just try to be brief so that we cover all the three submissions you made,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
would like to also to look at the comments that came through. There were very interesting comments that were coming through when I was looking at the comments. So the second submission you made was prioritizing the signing of already established artists whose primary role should be to mentor the new artist. The existence of a senior artist should make the burden of an artist shouldn't make a burden of an artist lighter, should make a burden of an artist, of upcoming artist, lighter, and not the opposite.
Yes, exactly,
So are you trying
exactly.
to say these big labels that have come through, they're supposed to be there to help, all right, groom and which word can I use? Scout the new talent
Yes,
and bring them on exposure to collaborate with big artists. Is that right?
yes, yes. We should make it easy because if for example, let's just give it as an example. Okay, Afunika is signed to Nexus and he's a big artist. Then Nexus signs a younger artist, a newer artist like Towela Kaira.
Yeah.
It becomes easy when Towela says she wants to feature Afunika. She features him on her song. It's easier for her song to get known because there's a heavyweight on that song. And then he can also guide her and say, oh, Zambian music, the way it works is like this and this. Here you can sing like this. Here you can't sing like this. Or your music, in terms of how you brand it, how you market it, there are certain do's and don'ts that she can learn from him because he's more experienced. And that's how you pass on knowledge from one generation to another.
All right. The third submission you made was giving international exposure to already established artists as opposed to exposing them to the market they are already exposed to. Build their capacity in order for them to be able to pull moves that they were unable to pull on their own. In short, don't give us what we already have. I'm sure at this point you've already talked about it, and you've really highlighted it very well to say they should give you a different platform that you don't have at the moment. All right. At the
Exactly.
moment, you're a big artist. Anybody that would call you, you give him your fee, and you won't perform, and you can get any recognition in Zambia. But what you need right now is an exposure outside. Is that right? All right. Looking at the comments, the very interesting comments that were coming through, and I've got a few of them here. I was so nosy to see that. Let me just have a look. So other people say, this is Jonas Triple Seven Kunda. I'm sure director brought it there. It says my personal and objective observation with regards to the record labels. So he has also made submissions. Calendar music promotion. If you dig deeper about this label, you are right to say it's politically motivated. Why do I say so? Look at the signees. All right. So he has mentioned Maki 2. Dandy, JK, King, Malembe, Richie Puti, Snapti, Felix, Yomaps, etc. Now, if you are a keen follower of Zambian politics, you will understand that these guys are PF artists, sympathizers. To cut the story short, of course, some may be innocent, but 70% of Kalandanya music family is PF sympathizers. So what does that mean? Last year, the likes of Bflow, Pilato, Chela, Michael Zulu, and Wezi stood up for the welfare of the Zambian youth. So if I go down reading this comment, I'm just seeing to say, out of the people, out of the artists that have been talking about the current situation of the country, as in politically, those artists have not been signed under Calendar Music Promotion. So now, if I may ask you, have you been approached by Calendar Music Promotion?
I've never been approached.
Thank you for that question, for that answer. Let's move on to Nexus. Let's move on to Nexus. So as in the next submission, this Jonas submitted. This money is making musical film to start with. Why do I say so? You can't conduct a talent search from 10 provinces and only target a single winner. It doesn't add up. Well-meaning record labels identify potential from underground artists and build that brand, not picking the already established to make money ventures. We had 10 provinces, and he did his maths there, and it was adding up to, according to his calculation. So now, if you look at these comments that came through, and these comments were on your Facebook page, what do you say about this? Do you think these labels have come through with that empowerment that was the government was giving to the Zambians, to the Zambian youths to be
Well,
specific?
that's a very good question. But you know, speculations are speculations, but when people are speculating, they are probably coming from somewhere. And we need to respect the opinions of the people that are giving, you know, these opinions, because maybe there's something that they're observing, or maybe there's a trend that they are observing, and maybe they are suspecting certain things, and it's up to the record labels to clarify. And clarifying doesn't necessarily mean posting on Facebook or saying something about it, but you can also clarify by balancing the way you sign. Because if you're going to sign in a particular way where people are going to say, why is it that all the artists, or why is it that 70% or 80% or 90% of the artists that are signed are people that are seen at maybe political rallies or anything like that? It becomes tricky and becomes suspicious. It can even affect the way people can support the vision, you know. So it's important for the record labels to set the record straight and make it clear if that is not the case.
Okay. All right. There was another comment that came from Vayoka, the famous Vayoka. We've heard him in many songs from the Kopala guys who, Vayoka, Dandy Crazy, has been talking about this.
Yes.
And he made his submission on your post. He said, Bflow, if only the administration of these two labels can head your to your writing here, Nishi, we will be headed in the right direction. Half write up, Bflow. And then Shenki Sugar comes on and, replies to Mr. Vayoka and says, but Papa, everything said here is already implemented. So, and you came and said, all right, bro, I'm happy to hear that. Ea wamana sana. And then Vayoka also replied to that. So do you think your submission were to the side of not knowing what is happening inside Kalanda Music Promotion?
Well, I don't think so. But what I would tell you is this: sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah.
And when you speak the truth, the people that you are speaking about may receive it in a particular way, and they need to be. They tend to be defensive and want to defend themselves because
and
in the comments.
Yes, continue.
If you read the comments, you will find a lot of upcoming artists, for example, who are agreeing with me and saying, oh yes, it's true, it's been difficult for us to get this platform. And then you will see some industry players who've owned record labels before. You will see people like Vayoka commenting who've owned studios before. People like Sync Sounds, the guy who discovered Slap D and Peterson. You see such people supporting, you know, my recommendations because maybe they've also observed something. But like I said somewhere, advice is free. You can take it or leave it. You know, one thing I noticed is that there were people that are employees of KMP and people that are employees of Nexus that came at me in the comments to try and criticize me and say, maybe you just don't know what's happening in the industry or this and that. But when you read the comments, you listen to what the fans are saying. If the fans themselves can observe that some of these things are exactly the way I'm putting it, then it means there's work to be done. So instead of being defensive, what you need to do is to just work on those things, because this is free advice, and when you just implement those things, it's only for your good. It's not going to harm you. It's only going to do you good.
Exactly. All right. There's another legend who commented, and this one says is Chocolate. You know, Chocolate Ray Kazembe. He says advice well put, and we have Jerayo. All right, our dopest MC right there, and you know he replies to MC to Chocolate and says not really. Whatever advice has been given there has been implemented. Umgaizi na shalila kofi panono because he's busy with work schedules. So he's saying you're busy with schedules, and I'm sure you've not been guided on what is happening. before you actually, let me find out this from you. Before you actually made those submission, have you had time to know what these labels are offering?
Well, yes, I do study the industry. I always pay attention to what's happening in the industry. I take time to interact with different artists. I have artists that visit me. I also have artists that I visit. I have artists that I link up with, who are signed to these labels. Others maybe are in the process of signing to these labels. And, we interact as musicians, as industry players. We talk also, what is it that you are learning, or what are some of the challenges? What are some of the things that need to be done? You can see, upcoming artists who are looking for these opportunities, maybe that might not be getting them. It's better for the sake of the industry. For me, I would rather you hate me for the truth than love me for a lie. And I'll just tell you the way it is, because even when you look at the way labels are trying to sign people, you will start seeing, for example, a trend of favoritism, where if someone is connected to this producer who is signed to this label, then those are the ones that they will sign. Those are the ones that they will recommend. Even the other label, you find that, oh no, because this one is connected maybe to the CEO, and that's the one that is getting, signed. But it should be on merit. It should be even a guy that is little known or is not known to any of those artists should still be able to get the chance as long as the talent is there. Because it's dangerous to say, those that I was working with when we used to have this studio, or things like that. It's about fairness and giving an opportunity to everyone, because when you try to favor only those that you love, yes, loyalty is good, but sometimes you find that it may not be a true reflection of what the people actually expect or want.
All right, Asnik made a submission as we started, and I just followed it up to say it's one of those things that we are talking about right now. So he went back into history, all right, and he's telling us right there to say the history of record labels is not new. If you know your history, JK, Exile, Crisis, Danny, Chameleon, Lidity, Mwembe Muntu, Chocolate, Angela Renda, we can mention them. Organized Family, Emi Roots, Shimasta, and many others there. They've been mentioned. And this guy says products of previous generation of record labels, such as Zambian Rhythm Promoters and Mondo Music, Z Records, and more other names such as Solid Rhymes, where Exile, oh my God.
So Arsenic,
the last part of it says, oh my God. The last part of it says, more the other names such as the Solid Rhymes, where Exile's first album was released. So now, looking at all these guys, these are upcoming artists at that time. All right? These were upcoming artists. And that is the example that you made earlier on with your submissions, to say, they should look, or rather they would have done, to recognize the young talent, the upcoming talent, and collaborate with the big artist in order to help nurture the little ones. That is the other submission. So the other submission he made. So the difference between the two sections, previous generation of record labels made and believed in creating artists from the ground up, as opposed to the current setting of recent record labels that feel like working with the already established artist is the best result. I'm just observing the idea and looking forward to learn more about this idea. So it's not from my guest or me talking about this. All right, we are just referring to what people and their views out there.
And
so
by
these
the
are
way,
views that have been submitted. And what are you going to say about this? What is your comment about this comment that our brother there has made?
So the person who has commented, Arsenic Diadrox, is one of the legendary producers that we have in this country. He's actually he produced a lot of artists on the ZRP compilation. Some of the artists that he mentioned there, like Mwembe Muntu, Bo Bwereka Bwereka, those days, the likes of even Slap D, they passed through that studio where Arsenic used to be a producer. When they were starting out, many artists passed through that studio. So he knows what he's talking about, because He was in the industry at the time. He was present. We used to see him at Loti House in Lusaka, where he was producing music. So he knows what he's talking about. And this advice, for me, this is perfect. Especially the scenario where he talks about the previous generation of record labels made and believed in creating artists from the ground up, as opposed to the current setting of record labels that feel like working with already established artists. We are not saying, just for the record, we are not saying it is wrong to work with already established artists.
Yeah.
But if you read my recommendations, I said sign new artists and sign already established artists with the motive of using them as mentors who are going to help the upcoming artists. And at the same time, those established artists, give them an international platform, give them international exposure, which they don't have, which, because if a record label is only going to help me shoot a video with the same guy that used to shoot videos for me 5 years ago, the one I can afford to pay on my own, then I'm still on the same level. You understand?
Very
but if
interesting.
if the record label is going to say, we want to go and make you shoot your video with the guy that makes videos for Mr. Flavor, Clarence Peters,
Yeah.
then you are taking me to the next level, because you're taking me where I can't afford on my own. That's the whole idea. So we're not saying do away with established artists, because even I, as an established artist, want to be signed to a label that will help me, but not helping me do what I can do on my own. Helping me to do what I've been unable to do. That's the recommendation. So sign the upcoming artists, sign the established artists, but balance it. Don't make them compete for the same thing, because they're currently competing for Zambia, which is pointless for the one who's already established, because you've already enjoyed Zambia.
Exactly. There you have it. Bflow giving us his views on the current, advancement of Zambian music and the introduction of the new labels that have come through to support and help the Zambian music industry. Many have welcomed it, and many have received with mixed feelings. We are yet to find out, as we will be hosting somebody from one of these big labels. I'll be glad to have them on our station as soon as we get in contact with them. But in the meantime, we've been discussing with my brother Bflow, and he has made a lot of submissions, and we've learned a lot from him, from his history as he was starting and the challenges he had faced, and where he is now as an artist. He's one of the artists, Zambian artists, who's been recognized by the president, the former president of the United States of America, Barack Obama. And that's where the name comes from, Bflow Obama Jr. or Young Obama. Tell us about that in conclusion as we end it.
And I know you've been busy. Over the past few weeks at schools and businesses all across America, you've been taking courses, developing the skills you'll need to make your ideas a reality, so that you're able to continue the great work that you're already doing, but take it to the next level. That's what Brian Wembia of Zambia plans to do. Where's Brian? Where is he? There he is, right there. So Brian uses music to advocate against things like gender-based violence and to educate youth on HIV/AIDS. So while in the U.S., he's learned about our healthcare system, met the founder of an American HIV/AIDS organization, and now he plans to start a record label for music about social change. So Brian, we're proud to be your partner.
Thank you so much, director, for that one. He was very quick. It was one of his best production when he said, "I need to make sure that I put this clip to make sure that people know about this, and we are not just talking from without, but we're talking from within." So there you have it, former president, United States President of America, Bukuf Madola, recognized our brother there, Bflow. And, we could see him in the audience standing up, of which I would be like, wow, hi, Obama. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so tell us about that. How was your experience as we conclude the show?
Well, it was an unbelievable experience, really. It was a bittersweet experience. I said bittersweet because in one moment it made me wish my mother was there. And then in the other moment, it also made me just appreciate what God is able to do for you and what your hard work is able to do, you know. Um, it was unbelievable because I never believed it. You can even see from the way I literally jumped out of my seat, like,
I
hey,
can imagine.
I'm here.
I can
You
also
know,
do that.
because
Me, I can even stand on the chair.
ah,
Facing to the cameras, like, yeah. Obama said my name.
exactly, exactly. It was
Yeah.
a wonderful experience, and the good part is that, you know, for people to start calling me young Obama, it means that that's my legacy, and I'm also part of Obama's legacy. So it's such a huge thing for me because these are things that don't happen every day. This is something in history that has never happened anywhere. So for me, coming from a small country like Zambia that a lot of people didn't even know about, it's just so humbling. It shows you that we must never despise humble beginnings because we don't know what the person we are looking down on can just become and what wonders they can make. God is so good.
Bless you, Bflow. It is, it's very interesting that to see you. And when that video came out, social media, everyone was talking about it. We're like, is this really Bflow? Is this really Bflow? But when we kept on repeating, Brian Wembia from Zambia, Brian Wembia, until we say, yeah, he's the man. He's the man of a moment. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming through, Bflow, and for accepting to come and join me on my show. And out of your busy schedules, I really appreciate. And as So Online Radio, I send our love to you, and we wish you all the best and your the best in your music career and in all ventures of life that you're in. We wish you all the best. Last few words to your
Thank
fans
you
that are
so
following
much.
us right now. Feel free to tell them your last few remarks, last few words. Fiance.
Well, thank you very much for everybody that has tuned in. Thanks to So Online Radio. Thanks to the Weekend Unlocked technical team that made it possible for us to stream this live on Facebook, YouTube, and on the website as well. Thank you to everybody that has supported my music over the years and that is still supporting me today. I really appreciate the support and I look forward to more surprises and more things that we can do, especially with regards to taking Zambian music to the international market so that one day we can also fill up the O2 Arena. One day we can also win a Grammy. United we stand, divided we fall. There's no need to fight, there's no need to argue. It's time to speak one voice as Zambian artists and work together. Our market is too small, but the cake is too big for everybody. So everybody can still have a piece of the cake. Let's just work together and take Zambian music to the next level by uniting. And let's remember, one Zambia, one nation. Big up.
That's the biggest motto right here. This is the flag for the motherland. I know
Yes.
the ego is not showing, but the president may give me a kiss. That's the ego there. All right. So one Zambia, one nation. Thank you so much once more, Bflow. How can people get in touch with you on social media handles? Feel free to give them out.
Twitter, it's at Bflow Music. That's at Bflow Music. Instagram, at Bflow Music. Then Facebook, it's just Bflow, Bflow. All my accounts are verified. They have a blue check mark. So if you want to be sure that you're following the authentic Bflow pages and accounts, go for the ones that have a blue tick next to the name.
Thank you so much, Bflow, and I really appreciate once again because this interview was scheduled to take for an hour and a half, but we've gone on because we had a lot to discuss, and we still have a lot more to discuss because you've done great things. You are a great man. You are a great source of inspiration to many other people out there, and of course the younger generation. I wish you well, and see you guys in 2 weeks.
Nice
in
one.
2 weeks with my special guest. Thank you so much, Bflow. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Ulisire go bit to the flow, get deep to the rock, put the abiribe umukonda deep to the bone, na deep to the flow, get deep to the rock, put the abiribe umukonda deep.
What is life without love? And what is love without you?
Bflow's cup of coffee is another man's cup of poison. Just like Paco Panga decision, Chola Pusana, Bonsa Marizon. Twali Pusana, we are different people. Kutina Voya, Gelo very simple. Bambi Kutiba Mona Pwama Pimpo. Kanchi in Demona Pwama Dimpo. You know true love, it is so hard, so hard to find. Ejomuntu obe musunge wino.
Ngeukufwisha manone lekabeshi benabanobe eukufwisha manone we munandi musunge wino. Ngeukufwisha manone lekabeshi benabanobe eukufwisha manone we munandi musunge wino.
Musunge wino. Just like umunandili na Zulu, aliveshibishana babululu na bagayi abamungulu balamupelo muchinchi fulu fulu. Bambi balafwila fwila mukati webo tatu fwila fwila mukati. Twenda fe babili babili taiti twalikatana nga sandi na sementi. You know true love, it is so hard, so hard to find. Ejo muntu obe musunge wino.
Ngeukufwisha manone lekabeshi benabanobe eukufwisha manone we munandi musunge wino. Ngeukufwisha manone lekabeshi benabanobe eukufwisha manone we munandi musunge wino.
Musunge wino. Musunge bagayi bavwile beshibe pakumusanga kupi belibe. Chindika uwa munobe kulisemeki alate kwa kupenena. Bagelo bonse beshibe pakumusanga kupi belibe. Chindika uwa munobe kulisemeki alate kwa kupenena. You know true love, it is so hard, so hard to find. Ejo muntu obe iwe musunge wino.
Ngeukufwisha manone lekabeshi benabanobe eukufwisha manone we munandi musunge wino. Ngeukufwisha manone lekabeshi benabanobe eukufwisha manone we munandi musunge wino.
Musunge wino. Tiptronic, chronic, 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 chronic.
Hello.
Yeah.
We're still back again. Bflow